Hi, this episode was recorded in the Fused creative space on Castle Street. It features the writer, poet, performer Priyanka Joshi. We talk about what inspires her to write, her first experiences of performing in public, and what she made of Wolverhampton when she moved here after getting married.
So I'm a spoken word poet, and I have been doing that for close to, I'd say, 8 years now. I've always enjoyed being a creative person, so art, creative writing, but I've never really given it the time as a passion or a hobby until after I had my children. So really I think that's where the inspiration seed started to grow. I started journaling before I had my first daughter, who's going to be turning 11 this year, and that it kind of snowballed from there. It became a way of expressing myself, getting thoughts and feelings, and kind of dumping emotions onto the page. And I still do that. I even use it now to do that. And it is such a nice way because the page is never going to judge you. The page is never going to answer you back, but what if, no, but why this, or you should do this. It just kind of gives you the freedom to express yourself as fully and privately as you want to.
There's no judgment from the paper.
Exactly. And if it's rubbish, you don't have to share it with anyone. And if it kind of from there, what I tend to do is if I do just kind of dump something on a page, then I will take like a little thread and then maybe form it into something later on.
So your experience of becoming a parent
is
what kind of really prompted that.
Yes, definitely. It's a journey that I think every woman can relate to. Your kind of identity changes, your body changes, physically you change, but also emotionally inside you change as well. And it's not something that's easy for a partner to understand, for example, or family members to understand. And I think that's why it was such an important thing for me to use at that time.
And is that still an inspiration for you, seeing your children grow and
develop? Yes, definitely. So I have 3 daughters now, and they are always growing, always changing. They are forming their own ideas and opinions. And I think navigating today's world and trying to raise children in today's world is a scary thing. And we just think of our own parents, our mother and father, as you've always just been my mother. Like they don't have any identity outside of that. Whereas I think when you become a parent, you kind of see, actually, no, they were also doing this for the first time. They didn't really have a rule book to follow because every child is different. And so you kind of give them a little bit more grace and perhaps forgive them for their flaws, and you get a greater appreciation for the things that they did or perhaps had to navigate when we were growing up.
To some extent, we're all making it up as we go along.
100%. And I don't know if it's just me, but when I think to what my parents were like when I was a child, like they had everything figured out. Like if I needed to know anything, they knew everything. If something needed to be done, they'd get it done. Whereas now I'm the adult. I don't have anyone to go to do it for me. I've just got to kind of muddle through.
But your children probably think you've got it all figured out.
Exactly, yeah. And it's that perspective shift, which is really interesting. And it's not something until you kind of stop and think about it. You think, okay, I'm responsible for raising these future adults. I'm not just raising a child. They're going to be a grown, functioning adult one day, and that's a responsibility I take it with great care and make sure I'm trying to do my best. Yeah. And I'm not always perfect. None of us are. I write a lot about, obviously, being a mother. I also write about being a woman, the pressures that come with being the woman of the house. A lot of my poetry is centred around the women in my life and food. They seem to be 2 kind of threads to...
So I know at the Lichgate you were talking about food.
Yes. I don't know if it's my Punjabi heritage. Food features very heavily in the centre of life. And food, it's not only kind of nourishing physically, it's nourishing emotionally as well. And you have memories attached with food. So that's really where I kind of draw a lot of my inspiration from, is mothering, being a woman, and also to some degree being a South Asian woman in today's day and age as well. Those kind of threads seem to run through my work.
Food is a way of bringing people together or sharing. 100%.
It's such a powerful way of showing that you care about somebody or giving somebody comfort. It is a really powerful way of connecting people, I think.
And how did you get into performing? When did that start?
I wrote a piece of poetry called This Love, which is almost like a narrative piece on the journey into finding out you're pregnant, what happens to your body during pregnancy, and then eventually the birth. I shared it on my Facebook page And I got a really massive response from women that had read it and said, I can relate to every single word of this. This is amazing. And then I saw the Pasta open mic at the Arena Theatre, which runs monthly. My husband kind of encouraged me. He's like, why don't you go and share it and read it? And I had never stood up on stage to read anything in my life. And I was like, oh, I don't know. He's like, no, just go and do it. Give it a try. So I took it with me, didn't intend to read, sat in the audience, was really enjoying it. And they were like, anybody else want to read anything? And then he kind of nudged me and said, go on, like, have a go. And I read it. And the response was really, really positive. And I'm actually so grateful to Emma, Steve and Dave for the encouragement, because they were like, wow, where the hell have you been? Like, why have you not been doing this longer? We want to see more. And that really kind of sparked it. I don't know if it's something that all poets have. It's that kind of instant feedback that you get from the audience.
Because I'm going to say, the piece that you performed in the Lichgate with the sari, and you were kind of wrapping the sari as you performed, and that was beautiful. Thank you so much. That is actually my favourite one to perform. It's not without its hazards. I have tripped over my sari a few times, but I think visually, for a lot of people like yourself, it does stick out, and it's not something that anybody has seen before. And again, that was kind of trial ran at a Pasta event at the Arena Theatre, and I've performed that one, at Literature Festival. I've performed it at the Glee Club in Birmingham, and it is something which does hit a lot of people, not only visually but emotionally as well. So I was going to ask you about Wolverhampton and your experience of moving to Wolverhampton. It must have been a bit of a change from London. It was, yes, definitely. So I was never living in the kind of central London. I lived in the kind of West London, near Twickenham. It's a lovely area. All my friends are there, all my family's there, and I really kind of had to start from scratch. When I did get married, which is coming up to 15 years ago now, so I think I can call myself Wolverhamptonian now, definitely. And it was like a new house, new people, obviously new spouse, new room, new job, new name. Everything kind of changes overnight. I did struggle in the beginning, and I wish that I had come to poetry as a tool to cope with that struggle sooner, rather than when I had the children. And what were your impressions of Wolverhampton like as a town when you first came here? I am going to upset a lot of people when I say this, but when I told, for example, my work colleagues that I'm getting married and I'm moving to Wolverhampton, and I clearly remember it, my director said, he's like, oh, are you sure you want to move to Wolverhampton? Everybody else, they were kind of shocked at, why would you move out of London? Like, especially if having an arranged marriage, would you not want to stay near your parents? Yeah, at the time when people found out I was moving to Wolverhampton, they were like, oh, are you sure you want to be doing that? But when I did move, I was so pleasantly surprised. It's such a wonderful city. The people are just the best. You can walk down the street, not know anybody, and you'll have at least 4 or 5 people that will say hello, or good morning, or you all right, Bab? And that really just kind of made me warm to the place. Definitely. There's so many events locally, open mics. Literature Festival is a huge part of the kind of creative calendar. You're doing something for the Literature Festival? Yes. So my event for LitFest is called Food is a Love Language, and that's going to be a group of poets that are going to be sharing their memories around food, which I'm really looking forward to bringing that to LitFest this year. And there is so much happening, and it's a really exciting time to be involved in all of these things. And I think what I'm seeing now is people from different sectors within the kind of creative world coming together and finding out about, what's going on at the art gallery, for example, or what's happening here, or people from different genres of creativity coming together and collaborating, which I think is really exciting. Yeah, I think we are gradually coming together a bit more than we probably were before, I think so, and I think there is strength in connection, there is strength in numbers as well, not only to support other people's creative pursuits, but even just moral support, even just being there or turning up to an event, showing your face. It's a nice way to show people that actually I care about what you're doing, and what you're doing is important, and I'm going to support you. And then that's really the best way to grow, is by growing together. And I think having that kind of cross-connectivity is really, really important for the kind of future in Wolverhampton for the creative scene. I was thinking earlier, actually, when you were talking about when you're thinking of an audience, I guess there's kind of two sides to the audience. There's people who've had similar experiences who you can connect with, but there's also people who haven't had your experience and you want to kind of explain to other people what you've been through, what your experience has been. Yeah, I'm kind of interested how artists see that.
I think it's different depending on the piece of art that you're creating. So there are some poems that I have written that are very much for, say, for example, a South Asian audience who will know the Punjabi words I use. I write a lot of bilingual poetry that connects with them on that level. At the same time, I do try and write about things that perhaps maybe aren't talked about within the South Asian community. For example, my postpartum depression that I had with my first daughter. Writing about that and sharing that in those South Asian spaces or to South Asian audience, it kind of helps to remove a taboo. And it's not often, mental health is not something that's often talked about in that community. So by creating a piece of art that perhaps they maybe have not had experience of or know somebody who has experience of, at least then, okay, when they do have a woman that might be suffering from postpartum, at least they'll have a little bit more understanding.
It's a good way of starting those conversations.
Yes, and if it can, get cogs turning in heads that perhaps kind of shut these things away because it's not something. It's not we don't talk about it. It's no, you're fine. Like, what are you talking about? What is all this mental health malarkey? Having that kind of conversation and connecting even with maybe the older generation that perhaps don't understand it as well as we do. I think that's important. So it's sharing my experience, giving comfort to those who have had similar experiences, but then also educating. I don't want to say, maybe educating is the wrong word, but opening a window so they can see an insight into
your experiences.
Yeah, and I think that's really helpful for other people that they may connect with that could be having the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I ask kind of to wrap it up is to say, how would you describe Wolverhampton to somebody who maybe wasn't familiar with the city?
Leave all your misconceptions behind you when you come, and come with an open heart, because you'll be greeted with open hearts. If you want to know Wolverhampton, go to the art gallery, go to the Arena Theatre, have a look at what's going on at the Grand Theatre. There is so much happening in Wolverhampton.
Thank you, Priyanka. That's a beautiful way to end. And yes, thinking about the importance of supporting our friends and fellow Wolverinians with their work and creativity. The more support there is, the more it enables good things to happen in the city. To find out more, check out Priyanka's socials, see down below, and the website, grahamstubbs.com.